Ladies and gentlemen, I have a big team. I used to have an even bigger team. This idea of growing a team is bunk. It is so good in so many ways, and it's so bad in so many ways. And most people hit a point that I hit. Gang, my name's Erik Hatch with Hatch Coaching. My brother, Connor Johnson, who has been with me for 10 years now. Connor has been on all sorts of journeys, but we are here to walk you through why you maybe shouldn't have a big real estate team. Now, if you have a big real estate team, super cool. I do too. Uh, doesn't mean that it's the healthiest it could be. We have stumbled upon and created a model that is now executed by hundreds of teams throughout the industry, and they are getting crazy success. Let me share with you this is I was part-time in this industry, 2006 to 2010. I spent 5 years as a part-time realtor. And once I got momentum, I did what every realtor says they're supposed to do. And that is, well, you get in full time. And so I got in full time and it was great. I sold 52 houses that first year. It's awesome. Huge wins, big wins, big wins. And then I'm like, hey, Erik, you know what you're going to do next? You're going to start a team, because that's what everybody's supposed to do. Is once you get good at selling houses, you're supposed to abandon that skill set and now focus solely on building a team. And it flopped and it failed. And then I started over again, and then we did pretty well. But as I look back on it, I never made as much money as I could have. I stressed out a lot more than I ever should have. And I didn't necessarily set myself up for the greatest success. So I think there's a better way. In my infomercial voice, there's got to be a better way. But before we talk about the better way, we got to talk about this bearded Mr. Rogers fella that is joining us. Connor, introduce yourself to the wonderful audience. Tell us a little bit about your history in real estate, because it is rich.
Yes. So first and foremost, was hired to be showing partner number one, numero uno for your world, right? I joined Hatch Realty as the first showing partner.
This was
Uh,
back in 2014, folks, for perspective.
Correct. Yes. Graduated being a buyer's agent from then. Did that for about almost 3 years. And then transitioned from that to being director of training and development for Hatch Realty, training our new and existing agents. And that gave way to some people around the country saying, how do you do that? Which got into the coaching, which evolved in me coaching more teams and being a part of the Hatch coaching world. But yeah, been in this ecosystem for about 10 years, seeing the journey of team.
We've morphed ourselves 1,000 times over, and we have continued to train on a really high level. And Connor's fingerprints are all over the success that we've had. And so it's really fun to be able to partner with him today on this webinar. I'm going to share my screen here. Y'all got to see where we're going, because today's theme, if you didn't catch it before, is don't grow a big team and instead do this. And so we're going to give you a literal blueprint of what to do and how to do it. With that being said, we have to ask this very first question of, why do you want a team? Let's pause for a moment. I had a friend. I'm with Real Brokerage, and I have a friend out in North Carolina that reached out to me, knowing I was kind of the team guy, the guy that spoke team language, the guy that had a big team, the guy that coaches big teams. And she had reached out to me, and she's like, Erik, I want to have a team. And I just said, Heather, that's awesome. Why do you want a team? And she was like, she's almost taken aback by the question, which is such an interesting conundrum, to be taken aback by what I think is a pretty simple question. Connor, why do you think people want teams? I think there's two very clear answers, but why do you think people want teams?
People get teams because that's what you're supposed to do when you produce well.
Gary Keller wrote a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the MREA. It had been the Bible for building a real estate career. And everybody was chasing this like mythical seventh level of like, I'm going to be out of production and I'm going to own this thing that makes me millions of dollars. And I think the core competency of that is, when somebody hits a point, they want to make more money in less time. I think that's the goal. Think about it. Like, why would you want a team? And number one is, I think you want to make more money in less time. And the myth is that that's going to happen. Now, the number two reason is when you're a weirdo like me, because number one was true for me. But number two was I get my greatest joys by impacting people's lives. And I would have rather focused on deep, long-term relationships with my team than I would have focused on my clients. I got more joy having people in my sandbox growing and connecting and working through leadership journeys and helping people to achieve their goals. That for me was more valuable and much harder than selling houses.
So you could sum that up, Eric, as like the joy of leverage or the joy of leadership, are those two reasons, right?
Oh, that was way more simple than what I said.
I don't know.
Uh,
I'm done now. I'm done. I'll just clock out.
You're an independent contractor, so there's no clock. I feel good about this now. It's great. To understand this, the joy of leverage or the joy of leadership, more money and less time. Of course, everybody wants that, right? Time is the only limited resource that we have. And so people love that. But I also knew that I was one of those weirdos that loves leadership. And I love my fingerprints being on a bunch of people's lives. And most people that choose that journey fail at that journey, myself included at times, because real estate is easy. People are complicated. And when you're dealing with all these different emotions, and then there's always this interesting balance to walk of when should somebody be a flight risk and leave, and when should they stay, and what's the value that you provide. And it's all these things over and over and over. And I want to tell you that if you are running a team, you provide three things. And I'd encourage you to write these down. Okay. They all start with L, so they're memorable. The first is you provide leads. Now, not all teams provide leads. Maybe it's a pond that you fish in. Maybe it's open houses that they get a chance to do. Maybe you're buying Zillow leads or other things. This is important. And Connor, as you make those notes, make it for everyone, not just hosts and panelists. Thank you. Yeah, there you got it. So the first is you provide leads. And you don't have to provide leads. This is the one that's optional. Number two is you provide leverage. The leverage that I'm speaking of would be administrative support, systems, office space, the things that move you faster and minimize the exhaustion that's on your plate. Super, super important to provide that kind of leverage. Number three, leadership. You provide leadership. Now, leadership is hard. In fact, I think leadership is probably the hardest journey of any business anywhere at any time. Leadership is not just training and development, it's accountability. It is mentorship. It is being a coach. It's being a parent. It's taxing and exhausting. It's sometimes 100% in for 0% out. It's bad math most of the time with leadership. But if you're looking at starting a team, you got to understand what you have to bring to the table. And I think it's the three aforementioned: leads, leadership, and leverage. And so if you're going to try to make this work, this is your path. Now, with that being said, we have to ask the question, why do you want a team, right? And it's time and money, right? You want leverage, or you want to focus on leadership because that's where you want to live. Now, as a guy that started a team and a guy that coaches nothing but teams, I laugh at the idea that a team in its early days will make you more money and will get you back time. I want to give you a very clear example. Connor's a brand new agent. Okay. I have 5 quality leads, whether they be from my sphere or referrals or leads that I bought. Doesn't matter the lead source. I have 5 quality leads. And I, as a seasoned realtor, I can close all 5 of those. I'm real good. The simple math that people think is, well, if I bring on an agent like Connor and he's new, well, he's going to close 5 out of 5 as well. And when Connor closes 5 out of 5, I'm gonna take 50% of the commission, and he's gonna get 50% of the commission. So on a $10,000 commission, he gets $5,000 a pop, and I get $5,000 a pop. So when these 5 leads are done, I'm gonna make $25,000, and he's gonna make $25,000. He's gonna have a great life. I'm gonna have a great life, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna hire 40 Connors, and 40 Connors are gonna make me $1 million. And then I'm just like, this is going to be so easy. Connor as a new agent sucks. He's no good. Not because he's a bad person, but because he is wonderfully undertrained. He's coming off of a fresh 90-hour course. He maybe has been on another team if he's not a brand new agent. Maybe he's been on another team or a solo agent, but he came to me because I had something that he was looking for, leadership or leverage. And so I'm not confident that Connor's going to close 5. And I know he's not going to close 4 and he's not going to close 3. Let's be honest, it's going to be 1 or 2. And it depends on the finger I want to leave up at this, right? If it's just 1 left. Because having a team is oftentimes bad math. I'm taking what I am good at and I'm disseminating that to the new kid. If Connor closes 2 out of those, Connor makes $10,000. Did I just make 10,000 or did I just lose 40,000? You see how you start thinking about this a little bit differently? How much time am I going to have to give to Connor to get him to close 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5? Let's just pause for a moment. And I want you to think, how much time does the new agent need to get masterfully proficient? Connor, your career for the last decade has been mostly training new agents. So I ask you, how much time does a new agent need to become masterfully proficient? I'm talking about time per day, and I'm talking about how many days.
Oh my gosh. So the answer to that is really as long as it takes. And that sucks because so many agents want like, can't you just give me a magic number to chase? And it's like, no, it's as long as it takes for them to succeed, really, because they're all so flippant different.
Connor, these rainmakers, these Erik Hatches of the world, they're taking all of their energy and time and they're spending it as a producer and trying to make business decisions of where to spend money and who to hire next. I don't have the time to hire you, Connor. I don't have the time to train you well. And so you say as long as it takes. Let's put an abstract number on there. For an agent to become really proficient in this business, I'm not going to say time, I'm going to say transactions. I think once an agent has probably done 20 transactions. Can we agree, whether that's a hard number or not? Can we agree if an agent has done 20 transactions, they're pretty competent? Is that fair?
Enough to have some stripes for sure.
Now, there's a big difference between an agent that's done 200 and an agent that's done 20. Big difference. But can I trust that if I give 5 quality at bats to an agent that's done 20 transactions, if I give 5 quality at bats, realistically, they're going to do 3 or 4. Yes? I mean, we're in a good enough category now. And so, by the way, if your business is striving for good enough, that's a really troublesome business. Okay. So all this to be said, new agents, if the average agent sells 5 houses a year, that's the real estate average as of 2023, is the average agent sells 5 homes a year. Then it takes 4 years of training and development to get the person to competently close 3 or 4 out of those 5. So we all need to agree. Please nod if you're watching this right now live or you're watching this on YouTube. Please nod and be like, having a team traditionally in the early stages does not make me more money and does not save me time. We have to understand that as a primary focus if this is ever going to work. But I want to come in and I want to swing a big ego for just a second, because this is what I've done in real estate. Okay. I've sold a bunch of houses. But my team from 2013 to 2023, my team has sold 7,000 houses. And every single realtor, if you looked at that list, I'm about 400 of those deals. That means that 6,600 homes were sold by my team. And every single agent that we hired was brand new. In the history of our company, I didn't hire experienced agents. I hired new agents. In fact, people that didn't even want to get into real estate, I hired them. And I want to be clear with you is that everything costs you. It either costs you time or it costs you money. I chose to sacrifice time. And the time that I gave was then transfused into the time that Connor gave, which then costs me money. Do you see that? It requires a fantastic, intentional trainer to get agents from mediocre to okay, and from okay to pretty good, and from pretty good to, yeah, I can bet on you every time. It takes your time as a very seasoned agent. I'm not talking a couple hours a day. I'm talking like half of your day every day for years. It takes time. After that, for me, it took money because I hired Connor to do the job. I paid him money to do the job for me. And you know what? Connor, in some regards, was so much better than me. And in other regards, Connor never had 400 plus transactions of experience in 3 years. So he didn't have that to lean on either. And so the person that you hire will be better than you and worse than you. If this scares you about having a team, it should, because having a large team is inefficient. I want to share this with you.
And Erik, in the name of scaring a little bit more for reference, that training program I was in charge of was just talking about hours. It was 90 hours of in-person training built into a 6-week span. And that it was excluding the out of training, shadowing, and homework they had to be doing.
Mm-hmm. So classroom time was 90 hours.
Classroom time was 90 hours in a 6-week time frame.
And that's your time, Connor, right? That's their time also. Do you think many rainmakers are willing
to? Dang good training program.
Do you think many rainmakers are willing to give each agent 90 hours of training?
No, that is hard to swallow because, yeah, you got a lot of things going on for your business.
Now, we need to understand this, gang. If you're hearing this and if you're striving for exceptional with a team, Connor's training of 90 plus hours, again, didn't include in the field training, didn't include anything of like how to actually open a door and work with it was all classroom stuff. Our average agents at Hatch Realty at our peak time averaged 30 transactions per agent. That included new agents and seasoned agents. We have had 4 different agents within our midst that have sold over 100 homes a year. The average number of sphere deals that our agents would do were 15 to 20 sphere deals per agent per year. We trained them not to be passive realtors. We trained them to be superstars, and they were, and they are. If you're training to mediocrity or you're training to good enough, it's not going to work. Most of you don't have the time or the money. Now, here's the last thing that I want to say on this slide before we really dive in and give people, because we're naming the pain, we're going to talk about the gain, but I have to lay out why a team is so detrimental. Our top year, we sold 1,024 homes. And in 2021, we sold 1,024 homes. My risk on that was I was spending between $200,000 and $230,000 a month in order to fund and function that team. My profit margin on all of that was 13%. In our best year, my profit margin was 13% on over $7 million in GCI, right? That means I made $1 million, gang. To say that is an uncomfortable thing, but I want to be really honest with you. I want to be the most transparent person in the room. And I made $1 million in 2021 for my real estate team. It was awesome, right? I paid myself a salary as a CEO of $100,000. And then I made another over $900,000 from the production of our team. Last year, I lost $200,000 from our team. Last year, I didn't take a salary. And we lost a bunch of people that left, and the market was down. And I was tied in contracts to expenses, whether it be the building I was in or the copier that we used or the Zillow leads that we were buying or anything else. And we were so financially irresponsible. We're adjusting things down. We're in a much healthier place. But big risk means big reward. And it doesn't always have to be that way, gang. I can tell you, because I get a chance to see the P&Ls and coach some of the top teams in the industry. Of the 1.6 million realtors that are in this industry, I bet less than 150 teams make $1 million a year. Less than 0.1% make $1 million a year. And they're also sacrificing 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week of work. And they're also sacrificing so much stress from carrying all of that. And in my cheesy infomercial voice, there's got to be a better way. And there is a better way. I promise you, there is a better way. This is not out of foolish design. This is out of intentional practicing through the last decade. So we know the model is broken and we can do better. Our industry, not just a team, but the industry in total is broken. All of the things you see on the screen here are existing in people's lives. It's tough. Why does the industry fail 87% of the time? It's because we set them up for failure. We give them a 90-hour course, and then we throw them to the wolves, and we hope and we pray that they make it. This industry needs to be better. With the recent changes, as we record this, it's the 21st of March, 2024. The National Association of Realtors just settled their lawsuit in the state of Missouri for over $400 million. And realtors are scrambling right now, trying to figure out how are they massively proficient at what they do? How do they make sure that they get paid? This industry continues to change. And that 87% failure rate is probably on its way up. This industry has its challenges, and we need to be better. This solution helps us to be better, and the solution is the micro team. If you want to go big with your life, meaning if you want lots of money and lots of time, you have to think small. If you're taking notes, think small to go big. We exasperated this model originally as like an internal model. This model was the reason why Connor got hired. So Connor, explain to our audience here what you were doing and how you actually took a leap into real estate, because had it been a full-time commission gig for you, I don't think you ever would have taken the leap.
So you're asking what was I up to before and when I got my license?
Correct. Because
Yes.
I had laid out a moment ago that every person I've hired has been like not a realtor. They were people that never even thought about it. And your path helps to paint that story so well.
Yeah, I was a traveling consultant for a national fraternity, driving around the country, going to campuses, assessing the groups, how they were doing, helping them with their stuff. And as I was on the road, before I hit that road, you kind of gave me this offer contingent upon getting my license. So I'd be taking my courses as I was traveling on the road, and it was all expected that I'd show up as a showing partner, and what that all entailed, which was, a salary,
Yep.
to leverage the agents, to learn, and to lead gen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We gave him an offer of stability in an unstable career. If we can do that, because remember, I'm the producer. I'm the guy that sells a bunch of houses, but I want time back in my life. And if I want time back in my life, I could gamble on a new agent. And if I gamble on a new agent, I throw a bunch of opportunities at them, and they're going to unintentionally, not out of ill intent, but just because they're not sharp swords, they're going to piss those opportunities down their leg. And there's a better way to do that. And that is to set somebody up with stability for them and stability for your business. Instead of me building Connor's business, I needed him to help build mine. Sounds selfish, but it's actually one of the most selfless and selfish things that you can do. Just understand, MREA has been a cornerstone in my life of how to build this business. And I'm so grateful for Gary Keller and Keller Williams and that book. But there's a better way. So what is this micro team? What does that look like? We have to make sure your foundation is right. Hire number one, the first person you bring on with a salary, is an admin. I get this question a lot. I never got this question a couple of years ago, Connor, but I get this question a lot. And that is, can I hire a VA to be one of these admin? And the answer is yes, but it's not your first admin. Your first admin should be in office. A VA costs you less, but it takes a lot more time for you. And the thing you need traditionally when you're hiring your first admin is you need a breath of air. You need somebody to be a direct extension of you to do your transaction coordinating and your listing coordinating, and to help with some of your runner responsibilities, and to take all those things off your plate that you are just so sloppy and irresponsible with. For most agents, Connor, this need hits when they're doing 30 or more transactions. Now, in some markets, especially higher price markets, it may hit before that. But the moment you as an agent lose even one opportunity from a buyer or a seller, or your family has to sacrifice to your business in an irresponsible sort of way, it's time for you to hire an admin. Now, you need to start saving for this person, and an admin should give you a 4x return on investment. That 4x, and by the way, we write about this in really great detail because we can't cover it all. My partner, Robbie T, and I wrote a book called The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint. I'll give you instructions on how to get a free copy of this at the end of our session here. So understand, I have an entire laid out blueprint for you, but I'm giving you the highlights. When you hire this admin, when you bring them on, so long as you maintain a consistent amount of lead generation and you're taking that time back, this 40-hour-a-week person gives you back probably 15 to 20 hours a week. You're like, well, why does that work? Why do they give me back 15 to 20? Why don't they give me back 40? Well, they're actually going to do the job the way it's supposed to get done. And your sloppy, half-hearted corner cutting, not out of ill intent, but out of fast movement. They're now servicing things the way and the degree of expertise that you need. Do you think somebody at the Super 8 cleans your room faster than the person at the Ritz-Carlton? They're doing the same job, right? They're just cleaning a room. But the Super 8 person takes 9 minutes and leaves dirty sheets and all these other things. However, the person at the Ritz-Carlton, they're giving you unbelievable attention to those things. So this full-time admin is a salary. That's scary for people. You got to make sure you have the money. Andrea, you asked the question, can you define consistent? Are you asking in terms of production? Are you asking in terms of administrative help? Just lay out in terms of production. Consistent production for me is somebody who is doing 2 to 3 deals a month. I think that's predictable, consistent production. They're spending a nice balance of time in both lead generation, servicing other leads, and closing other clients. You're spinning a lot of plates, you're wearing a lot of hats, but I think that you're at a point now where it's like, is my business consistent? Do I feel like I have predictable income? Nothing about this industry is predictable, but our behaviors and habits are.
And Eric, I think it should go without saying, hopefully everyone is assuming this. It's not leverage so you can like sleep in a little longer, right? It's to just multiply your gifts, which is probably going to be lead gen and follow up and, you know, the hunt, as it were, right? To bring in more business. It's not to just, if you want to do that to take more time for like your family and to enjoy like hobbies, that is a dangerous proposition.
Yeah, it's not the time yet. You're not in better breathing mode yet, but we're getting there. Okay. So with that being said, now it's time to hire a second admin, because this first admin, if they do their job and if they give a 4-to-1 return on investment, if we take an average commission of $10,000, this person can help you sell 20 more homes. Confidently, they can help you sell 20 more homes because they're giving you 15 to 20 hours back into your life that you're using for lead generation efforts. And so you're maybe going from 30 transactions to 50 transactions. And that for you at an average commission of $10,000 is $150,000 of extra cash if you're paying them 50 grand a year. You're making 150 grand more by risking here. You're not working any harder. You're working smarter for the first time. Hire number 2 is also an admin. They can be in office. They can be a virtual assistant. This person is meant to give you acceleration. The first person's helping you breathe. The second person helps you to grow. And so now we're looking at marketing. We're looking at branding. We're looking at video. We're looking at your social media. We're looking at your YouTube page. We're looking at client events and the extra touches that you're doing to put on the people that you already care about. They should be the easier thing to measure because you can point to and say, their efforts helped me to procure this business. Now, understand, if you're hiring this person now, the stress that starts to bubble inside of you is big, because most of the time you think, I'm just going to hire a bunch of agents and that's going to make me more money. And it doesn't. You need to hear this very clearly. When you're great at sales, that should be the last thing that you abandon. We want to hire an ISA, an inside sales agent, to convert leads. But it takes them years to be great at that. You're already great at that. It makes sense to hire things in areas that you're probably not great at. And that's on the administrative side. Most great salespeople aren't so good with all of the aforementioned.
Erik, is it good to say that like that second hire will get a lot of mentorship from your first hire?
Yeah. That you're not the boss of that. I mean, yes, you are. You're still the business owner and stuff, but they are mentored by, they are led by that first admin, which is why I like that first admin in office by my side, an extension of me, a direct connection. The second person can be also, but they don't report to me. They report to my main admin.
I think that is such a huge like tidbit there, because I think a lot of agents will have that craving for a shortcut, which might be the VA hire, but you're really building like a future leader to help scale
Yeah.
the next hire. And like it's hard to do that if they're halfway around the world, not really breathing your day to day and your market. And now like it's trying to shout to someone in the other room what to do, and you're never in the same room together with your first hire. That's going to be a bumpy road.
Yeah. Such a solid insight there, Connor. This now means that you are still in production in such an intense sort of form. This new person, again, if they're a 4-to-1 return on investment, they're going to help you to do 10 to 20 more transactions. And so now you're a team of 3 doing 60 to 70 deals. Now, I'm speaking in a generic market. As of today, the average sales price in the United States is $415,000. And so I'm speaking in that kind of market. If you're in a lower price market or a higher price market, this model changes, but the core fundamentals of the leverage pieces remain the same. So now if you're doing 60 transactions a year with an average commission of $10,000, that's $600,000 in commission. It's a lot of cash. Let's say you're paying your 2 admin a total of $100,000. Well, that means that your net, prior to any other expenses, whether you're buying business or you have a whole bunch of marketing and other things, you're at $500,000 net. Of all the teams that I coach, very few even make $500,000, because I started coaching a team a couple months ago, and they are in it deep right now. I ran a simple math equation for them. And I would challenge you all, if you have a team right now, you need to do a math equation. I said, hey, are you making any money on your team? And they're like, yeah, we're making some. So I looked at their profit and loss statement, their P&L. And in that P&L, I discovered that they were putting 100% of their own commission into the team's P&L. If I'm the rainmaker, if I'm the team lead and I sell a house and it's a $10,000 commission, they were putting all $10,000 into the team bucket. When realistically, they should pay themselves the same way they pay an agent, meaning if it's a 50-50 split, 5,000 of that goes to their personal checking account because they sold the house. The other 5,000 goes to the team. And when I looked at it, they spent $75,000 to have a team. Like they were funding their business with their own personal production. And so many teams, Connor, are doing this. They don't understand their numbers in pure form. In the Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, we talk about these numbers and we help people to understand them really clearly. But it is shocking to me how people think that they're making great money with their team when realistically they're just funding it with 100% of their own commission. It is a pain point. And if you want to avoid that pain point to get your numbers clear, this example I just shared with you of 2 admin and 60 transactions means that that's a $500,000 net before other expenses. That's pretty awesome. But notice I didn't take out the commission. If I took out the commission, that meant that you already made $300,000 as an agent. Okay. So let me slow down because I don't want to lose you on this math. $600,000 is top line. Half of that is yours automatically. 50% commission. That means that you're now making $300,000 as an agent, but your business is a different way to think because your business has 2 employees. And so of the 300,000, you spent 100 grand on the employees. Then you maybe have another 50 grand of other expenses. So your business made 150. You as a realtor made 300. Connor, does that make sense as I'm explaining it? Because I want to make sure I'm not losing people on this.
I think I followed that, and I'm not very numerically driven naturally, so like really leaning into that. That's a very simple breakdown. And
Yeah. Okay. Here's the hire of how you start getting your time back, because everything we did up until this point was you continuing to invest the same amount of time. And as you invest that same amount of time, that's now compounding into more money for you. And so now that we have the money machine going and growing, let's get you your time back. And that comes with an agent partner. You may hear the language of showing partner. It's what we used to call it, but I've matured that language to now call it an agent partner. Because if I introduce Connor as my showing partner, it speaks of limited talent and skill set from Connor. If I just refer to him to a client as my partner or my agent partner, doesn't that sound like he has a higher level of competency? The words we use matter a lot, but this partner is the key to unlock so many things. So they're on a salary as well. That is shocking to people when I bring that up to them, Connor, is that they're on a salary. But I think it's imperative that you put them on a salary, because you never would have got into real estate had I not given you a salary. There are right now 5 types of people that can get into real estate on a full-time commission base. 5 types. Number 1, they have a sugar daddy or sugar mama. Sounds kind of nice. Number 2, they're a trust fund kid. They got a bunch of cash, and so they can just jump in and do whatever they want, however they want. Number 3, they have a part-time job. That was my story. I had a part-time job. In fact, I had a full-time job. Real estate was my part-time job. Number 4, they have terrible financial habits and are about to go into 6 months of debt or more. Number 5, they have a savings account where they can go 6 months without making a buck. We're setting people up for failure when we hire these 5, because the first one, the trust, or the sugar daddy or sugar mama, the second one with the trust fund, I can't swear that they're going to be massively motivated. I'd rather bet on somebody who's a really great server at my favorite restaurant, or a really great retail worker at my favorite store, or somebody who is a diehard teacher or nurse, or somebody who is working. And most of those people are higher S's on the disc profile.
Took the words out of my mouth there, Eric.
Go ahead, Connor.
Took the words right out of my mouth about that higher S profile. And team players are high S's, but high S's are also what? They're risk averse.
Yeah. And they're better servants, I think.
Yeah.
It's providing more stability for me and stability for them, which is, again, such a value piece. So you pay them a base pay, you pay them a salary. And guess what? When they're an employee, you get to dictate their time. One of the reasons why agents are so bad at getting off the ground is because they want to be their own boss. And I'm still the boss here. And that's what's best for them. This is not a power trip for me. This is a seasoned, tried and true. Their greatest chance of success is starting as an agent partner. They, of course, are getting some other compensation as well. And so you can expect them to make $50,000 to $70,000 in this year. So a brand new agent that does an agent partner role for 12 months will make $50,000 to $70,000. Connor, do you know what the average agent in the United States made in 2023?
Tell me.
It's about 40 grand. So I can pay somebody more as a brand new agent, and I can get time back in my life, and I'll sell more houses, and I'll deliver better service to my clients. Holy cow. Why the world isn't doing this is beyond me, because I don't have to start a big giant team where I'm spread so thin. I literally have 3 people on my team besides me, and only 2 of them report to me. My job is still as a producer, and I'm giving that all my attention and all my focus. Some people choose to pay them commission, and I want to share this with you for just a moment. They don't give them any base pay. They just pay them commission. This is what it looks like. I don't love this model, but a lot of people do it and still find good success with it. I find great success with this. Good success with this, because I need to give stability to the new kid. That matters to me. Could I have just pushed Connor through and paid him just commission and hoped that he would have made it? Well, first of all, he wouldn't have taken the job.
Bingo.
And then he would have had commission breath, and you never would have been as good as he could have been.
Oh,
I
the
think of
stress
this
of
like a,
when's that first paycheck coming would have made it hard for me to learn from you
uh-huh,
for half the time. Like I'm not listening when I'm got that scarcity mindset. And like that salary helps alleviate that so much as a higher S type.
100%, bro. As I jump here, I want to live here for just a moment. Okay. This is a simple thing. If you're watching, take a screenshot or pause the replay here. Giving this kind of stability. I'm not giving Connor a luxurious life, paying him $36K a year. I'm not giving him healthy cash. I'm giving him enough to like eat ramen noodles and pay for his car and rent and student loans and all the aforementioned. But what I'm doing is I'm inviting somebody into my world that never would have come otherwise. When you go the commission model here, you're finding somebody that probably already has their license. They've already taken that risk. They're one of the 5 that I talked about, and you're giving them a chance to build this up. But this is a more inconsistent model in my experience. Now, what do? You hire them. They're your full-time employee. They're your full-time team member. What do? Number 1, leverage. Number 2, train. Number 3, lead generate. In that order. Their first priority, and Connor, when you were an agent partner, your first priority was to go with who you were partnered with and make sure that all their clients were served on such a high level, right? Like, walk me through an average day of you as an agent partner.
So it was training in the morning unless there was some really crucial leverage I needed to provide. And then it was regular conversations with the agents to see what's coming down the hopper, what's going on, like what's my schedule going to look like. It was also receiving some invites on the fly from the agent who needed me to do something, which I was expected to do, like to drop what I'm doing and serve that showing that came up out of nowhere. Absolutely. Training was there. And then if there was no training, if I had no showings, I was lead genning. I was lead genning my sphere to try to bring some deals, not for myself, but for the agent that I was attached to.
It was at this time 10 years ago where we incorporated the greatest strategy into our business. And that is everything is earned, nothing is given. It is a core fundamental to a healthy real estate business, is that for your agents, everything is earned and nothing is given. And Connor had to earn the right to be an agent in full production on my team. He had to show me competency, both with his skill set and with his lead generation. If he was ever to move to a full-time commission role, he had to prove to me that he knew how to feed himself. That's best for me. Yes. That's best for Connor, 100%. We treat this like a slingshot. We hold him, we pull him back. But when we let him go, he's going to go faster and farther than anybody else who's just trickling their own way through it. In an industry that fails 87% of the time with new agents, we succeed over 87% of the time with people that start as an agent partner.
And if you're not using that slingshot analogy and you're hiring, I think you're doing a disservice. Like the candidate should understand that philosophy before they accept the job. Like then you should minimize some headaches of they knew it was going to be a slower burn.
Yep. By the way, gang, when we're at the end of this, Connor has offered to do some free strategy sessions with you and your team. Okay. And so we'll give you his contact information. You can, of course, find it on Hatch Coaching's website as well, but we'll give you that because Connor and I had a conversation offline to say, hey, how can we provide insane value? And whether somebody has a team right now or you're looking to build a team, Connor will do a free 30-minute strategy session with you to see if he can move you in the right direction. So that's our gift to you today. Connor, thank you for your willingness to do that.
No problem. And like, yeah, we'll get into the weeds with your respective world on that, right?
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So mock scenario, let's take a look. 10 grand commissions, 30 closings. You get all the money. You make $300,000. That's gross, not net. Understand, those are very different numbers, gross, not net. But you worked 50 plus hours. I want to be really clear because if you miss this, this doesn't land. Time is the most valuable resource we have. It's not money. It's time. Time. That's the thing what matters the most. Hootie and the Blowfish sang about it. So that's how you know it's legit. Okay. Number 2, though, you're now bringing on an agent partner. By the way, there's admin and other things that are going to be hired in this, but I'm trying to simplify this for you. You bring on an agent partner and you're still investing the same amount of time into your business, but you're closing 15 more deals. You went from 30 deals to 45 deals. The agent partner here on the top right, they're making over 62 grand, more than the average agent in the United States. They're making 62 grand. Huge win. Your gross has gone from 300 to 387. But look at your time in the bottom right. Look at that. You went from 50 plus hours a week to 35 to 40. You literally made more and worked less, which is the sole reason why most people want to have a team, is they want to make more and work less. But you think you got to go hire 10 or 20 agents to get there. There's real estate coaches in this industry, Connor, right now. And it's almost all the real estate coaches in this industry that grab a microphone and say, hire as many agents as possible. Because that's what's good for me, the rainmaker. Those that'll make it will make it. Those that won't make it won't make it. I don't want to treat people that way. If Connor leaves a career and puts his trust in me, I have a fiduciary responsibility to do everything within my power to help him to win. The solution to the life I want is helping other people to get what they want. I'll win when Connor wins. I'm not going to hope that he wins and put him into a machine that's just going to see that he wins. I'm going to do everything to help him to win, because that for me is why I do this, right? Go back to the beginning. Why do I want to have a team? It's because I want to make an impact, because I want to lead. If that's not for you, go hire a bunch of agents, and that model works too. I'm just telling you the model that works for my heart. And if you're still with me, it works for you too. So
you're going to hire a bunch of agents, get some aspirin alongside for that journey, in my opinion.
I would have gone with whiskey, but yeah, same thing. We are about wrapping. Connor, would you do me a favor and put your email address and contact information into the chat box for our viewers? If you're watching on YouTube, it's Connor, CONNOR at hatchcoaching.com is how you can get them. But I want to share with you the 3 career paths for a partner, because this matters a lot. The first one is a lifer. They stay with you. That means they have stability in their life. You have stability in your life. That's unbelievable. If you can find a lifer, that is maybe the most valuable hire you'll ever make, is somebody who's just going to be like your ride or die because they love it. But there's a lot of nights, there's a lot of weekends, there's a lot of things that can be exhausting. So finding somebody to be that lifer is difficult. The most common path is the graduate. Somebody like Connor who earned a spot as an agent on my team, not as an agent partner, but as an agent, a full in production. So higher commission, all commission based, running that risk. He had to earn it. Here's the rough overview that we teach on people is a minimum of a year as an agent partner and a minimum of 10 deals that they kill on their own. That can be from open houses, that can be from their own sphere, that can be from fishing in the pond. They got to do at least 10. Number 3, my favorite, is the empire builder. This person doesn't graduate off my team. They graduate up my micro team. They start navigating and negotiating deals. I move from being the guy in charge of everything to a lead generation guy, and that's about it. I shake hands and kiss babies, but I don't negotiate contracts anymore. This person has graduated up, and now they're making sweet bank. And let me say this before I move on. The narrative some of you have is like, who would ever want to do that job? Well, what percent of the world are high S's, Connor?
69%.
Okay, so 69% of the world would do that job because it's stable, because it's predictable. So 69% of the world. But what about the other 31%? Would they do that job? How many people want to hunt versus how many people want to gather? So let me ask you a question. Would you gamble a ton of time and stress for $300,000 a year? Or would you take a predictable 175? And there's not a right or wrong answer. I would gamble the 300. I would gamble the 300. Connor,
I'll be honest, I'd take the 175 just to talk about how we're wired differently, right?
I know you would.
And
you as an empire builder, oh my gosh, you would crush it, bro. Crush it. Because here's what it looks like. It's not fancy compensation, right? It's not a salary anymore either. It's 15 to 20% of the deals that I bring in, and then they get 35 to 40%. They're actually probably bringing on a showing partner now to do the showings. And their job is to do what I've been doing. They're doing some lead generation. They're managing the team. They are working with all of the contracts and all the clients. I literally show up, shake hands, and kiss babies. So now let's look at the Empire Builder. 45 closings still. Your showing partner, your agent partner gets 62. This Empire Builder gets 90. I'm dreaming much bigger than the 90. So my gross now is almost $300,000, but I'm working 10 to 15 hours a week. Do I have your attention yet? That you can work 10 hours a week with only 3 or 4 people on your team, make 300K top line, working 10 to 15 hours a week. It's pretty tempting. So this is your time with an Empire Builder. It's really simple. It's 10 to 15 hours. I lived in this world for a few years, and it's a good life. So if you want to win on this, I go back to you got to think small to dream and do big. And I said this, I was going to give you a copy of my book. Here's a copy of my book. It's free for you. We just ask that you pay shipping and handling. You just need to follow me on Instagram and then DM me one word blueprint. We have some AI that'll take over from there. So if you want a copy of the Perfect Real Estate Agent book, this is how you grab it. If you want a strategy session with Connor, I hope you see what I see in this guy, and that is he knows this stuff and can help catapult your team in the right direction. There's no charge. There's no gimmick. Would Connor love to earn your business? Sure. Would I love to partner with you down the road? Sure. But we're not trying to push anything. We're just simply trying to give a bunch of free value. And so if you want more free value, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following along. Make sure that we are consistently staying in touch with you so that we can help you change your stars. With that, that's all we have for today. I'm going to stay on for the next 10 minutes because if you have questions, if you have anything that you need, I'll happily answer to our live audience here. So thanks for tuning in. My name is Erik Hatch with my partner, Connor Johnson. We'd love to grow with you. You just got to come knocking. God bless. Connor, you can pause it.
He's slow recording.
I pause it? I paused it. There we got it.
You did it.
Are we recording now or are we not recording? I don't even know.
It said the recording has ended.
Okay.
Webinar is being recorded now.
I think we're done now. I think. Who knows? That's going to be a fun ending to watch on YouTube.